Kabiru, how are you? How are you doing,
I'm good,
Kabiru?
ma'am. Thank you.
So,
I'm doing good, ma'am.
so
How
your
was
video
the
was very nice.
festival, ma'am?
You know? Yes, festival was very good. I thought today I'll start with showing a little bit of the festival. I'll just,
Thank you, ma'am.
you will have an idea. Okay, okay. Then I'll start my class, huh? Okay. Uh,
Okay.
just go through the video. Hmm? Let me just check. Kabiru, I'm just showing the video. Okay. If it runs okay, you just tell me, yes, madam, it's going on fine. Then after
Okay,
five,
no
10 minutes,
problem.
we'll start the class. Okay. We'll just have a
No
how
problem.
yesterday India celebrated Dashera. Okay. Hmm.
Okay, okay.
Is it showing? Kabiru,
It's yes, yes, ma'am.
can you
It's
see
showing.
anything? Acha, just listen. Huh?
Yes,
I'll
ma'am. It
just,
is showing.
I'll show you for around 5-10 minutes. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Or
Can you
Joy
hear?
Dashami to all of you. On the show this evening, we'll
Can you
explore the
hear? Can
hundreds
you?
of these
Okay.
details in different parts of the country as we
Okay.
celebrate one festival. From the royal and grand procession in Mysore to the famous effigy of Ravan being set ablaze in North India. We just witnessed that a few minutes ago from the national capital, from the grand immersion of the idols of Durga in West Bengal to the stunning Golus of Chennai. Fascinating images from across the country on your screens. That's our celebration as one country. Of course, as I mentioned just a short while ago, we had the famous Ravan Dahan in the national capital with the Prime Minister in attendance, along with that several political leaders in other Ram Leela grounds. Of course, the famous Mysore Dashera procession, known for the royal touch with its jumbo savari, led by 58-year-old Abhimanyu, as you see on your screens, carrying the 750-kilogram golden howdah, came to a close a short while ago as well in Mysuru. And now we have the illumination of the majestic palace and the city. Those pictures on your screens of the palace lit up by over 1 lakh light bulbs and urban lamps. Then, of course, you had the famous burning of the Ravan effigy, as I mentioned, in the national capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Congress leader Sonia Gandhi, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, and the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi were all in attendance, but at different Ram Leela events in the national capital, as you see on your screens. Of course, those celebrations also coming in from New Delhi, different parts of Delhi, though. The celebrations in Kolkata, from the immersion of Durga idols to the famous Sindur Khela ceremony in Kolkata as Durga Pujo comes to a close. The beautiful dancing and the pandals coming to a close there in eastern India. Then, of course, in Chennai, you have the traditional Kolu dolls, which represent fascinating traditions to modernity as the city celebrates Vijayadashmi. Neighboring Telangana, of course, you had the famous Batukamma flower festival over the past few days. So one country, many different traditions and many different tales behind the Dashera. That's what we will try and explore on the Southern View this evening. We'll have expert voices from the north, south, east and west of the country to take us through the many tales that make our Dashera in India. Joining us this evening, of course, Professor Chandan Gowda, who studied culture and society of Mysore closely. He joins me from Bangalore. Also, we hope to be joined by Professor N.S. Nagaraju, Department of Ancient History and Archaeology at the University of Mysore. Amarnath joins us from Chennai. He's part of the famous Chennai Mylapore Trail, which are famous for their Kolus. We'll have special reports from around the country as well. So lots of interesting stories hopefully lined up on the show this evening. If we can go across first quickly to Chandan Gowda before I get to North India and all the celebrations there, which just concluded a short while ago. We'll be playing for you a short soundbite of the Prime Minister as well in a bit. But Chandan, there's such a fascinating difference between the celebrations and the tales that's told in the different parts of India.
Yeah, Mira, I mean, if you just begin with the Mysore story, here Dasara, you know, the Navratri celebrations are closely tied with royal power. And we know Vijayanagar Empire did this on a very big scale. We have many travelers' accounts of how Dasara was celebrated then, the Navratri festival. It was an event in political sovereignty, in the sense the emperor would insist that all his subordinate kings show up on that day to offer ritual subordination to him, pay him homage, etc. Also, sports, wrestling was an important part of it. Also, music, arts, and a display of military power. All of them going together, and the worship of Pampa in the case of who's seen as Shiva's wife in Vijayanagara times. It's very much a Shakta cult practice. We have worship of female power, and this is what you see in Durga Puja clearly. And you see a version of that in Mysore resurfacing a few centuries down after the Wadiyar king breaks free from the Vijayanagar Empire and is thankful to the local deity Chamundi for helping him win the little war. And that's when Chamundi becomes the deity of the Wadiyars. It then continues on till today. But there's a little bit of a mystery about when Chamundi becomes seen as Mahishasuramardini, which is part of a larger Indian Puranic imagination.
Normal.
These things are shrouded in mystery. But then the things continue, and in the way we saw in Vijayanagar. But of course, there are not very many subordinate rulers to show up in the court. But the other things continue. The wrestling, the arts, the music, and visitors to the court from different parts of the state. And this is a fascinating history about how this also changes in time. Once you have the Mysore Representative Assembly set up in the late 19th century, once the Maharajas get back their power from the British, there are leading farmers and merchants from different parts of Mysore who show up during Dasara to Mysore. And this
So, Kabiru, did you understand? Did you, yesterday the country celebrated Dashera? Kabiru,
Yes,
Basir,
yes, ma'am.
am I audible? Yes. So you saw the video. I wanted to show you the video because yesterday the
Yes, you are
country,
audible. You are
we as a
audible.
nation, one nation. It's one nation with so many cultures, so many festivals, and yesterday the whole country celebrated Dashera. Even our prime minister celebrated Dashera at New Delhi, and the video which I was showing you, that was at a place in Karnataka known as Mysore, where it is being celebrated in a very high scale. Okay, so yesterday, like the festival, Dashera, it is basically also known as Vijayadashami, and it is celebrated all over the country. Especially, it's a Hindu festival, and it signifies the it signifies the victory of good over evil, and is associated with various mythological you can say stories and legends that the person was trying to say, that the professor over there. And especially the festival, Lord Rama, like you can say the festival commemorates with the triumph of Lord Rama over the demon king who's known as Ravana, symbolizing the victory of righteousness over evil forces. So it signifies, this festival is celebrated because it signifies the importance of righteousness, truth, and triumph over good over evil in Indian culture. So that is what was celebrated yesterday. So from again today onwards, we are back to our daily life. But yes, just wanted to say you that I'll be taking the classes. I'll try to finish it up today early because again I'll be going back to I'm at my hometown now to celebrate Dashera, Durga Puja and Dashera. So now I'll be back to my place Bhubaneswar, that is in Orissa, where I'll belong to. So in the meantime, I'll be just showing you the PPT. Okay, we'll be back. Wait, just a minute. Yeah, is it visible now? Kaveri, is it visible? Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible. It's visible.
Okay, 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 fine. So
Yes,
now,
yes, it is
today,
visible.
we will be discussing about thresholds. Okay, thank you. So we'll be discussing about thresholds. So in this thresholds, there will be there are especially there are three units. One is unit 23 that will be dealt with identifying pressures and understanding thresholds. Unit 24, it's a holistical, it's host and local population, and Unit 25 is visitor behavior. So I'll be dealing with Unit 23 and 24. 25 I'll be keeping it for tomorrow, right? So it's about identifying pressures and understanding thresholds. We know that tourism has been recognized as a beneficial activity for most people. It's an activity where you can say, it creates job, then it earns foreign exchange for the particular destination which we have already discussed. And then after reading this unit, you'll be able to understand, but what are the pressures on the environment? That is the reason why this chapter is known as pressures and understanding thresholds. So we need to understand the pressures that is, being the environment is the environment of a destination is facing due to tourism. And we also will understand the points of thresholds caused by tourism, and we need to identify the nature of the problem with the solutions that could be handled. So we all know, coming to the introduction part, see, you can see from the it is, I've tried to make it a pictorial one, so you could realize that, we all know that tourism is a major international industry today. One sector of the industry which is going very fast, you can say, that is tourism, as well as the recreation in the natural areas. Okay, now why I showed like Dashera, the festival, you can see it's one of the cultures of a country which is a part of tourism. And since it has been celebrated in a large scale, so there are a lot of tourists coming to the destination, visiting the destination. So obviously it's earning revenue for the particular destination, for the particular country, generating providing job opportunities for the youth, and so on, as well as infrastructure development also. But as we have discussed in this units, like in the last previous units, that we need to ensure that the environment is not tourism does not harm the environment, so we have to take care of that. So usually, these river banks, conservation reserves, mountains, beaches, and seas, they are subject to the increasing levels of tourism. And it is very much necessary that we should have a proper environmental planning as well as proper management, and so that the natural area can be restored without any negative impacts. And if properly managed and planned and managed, then obviously tourism will be a potential an industry with low environmental impact, as well as sustainable high sustainable economic return, which we are expecting to have. There are always, when we talk about pressures on environment, we have already discussed in a previous units, like what are the impact, you can say the negative impact of tourism on environment. There is degradation of natural vegetation, then there is always, a very adverse effect on wildlife, because slowly the biosphere, the bioreserves and all the flora and fauna of the particular area are being hampered, are being destroyed, because a lot of buildings, infrastructure, they are coming up. Why this infrastructure is coming up? Because you see lot of tourists are visiting those destinations. So infrastructure development is on one side. So once this infrastructure development comes up, then obviously it hampers the local flora and fauna, because they also wanted to stay in peace. But once you see, there is always vehicles, then there's mass tourism is happening. So obviously there it will have a negative impact on the particular destination. And there's when there are a lot of vehicles, a lot of transport, lot of people, tourists coming to the destination, always it will lead to pollution, noise pollution, it will lead to soil pollution, then soil erosion, degradation, and then you'll have noise pollution. So all these will have a very negative impact on the environment. Then of course, if sometimes the destinations turns out to be a mass tourism. Why? Because there are a lot of traffic jam and disturbance in those rural environment, and especially this disturbance are caused to traditional economic and societies. So we, however, opening the gates of tourism, floodgates of tourism, is like to disturb the fragile ecosystem of the earth. And the decreased number of tourists have been a subject of debate as to the negative impact of losing the delicate balance of our ecosystem. So here we will see how tourist recreation makes an impact on the environment. To protect the environment, especially the mountains, the wildlife, the beaches and sea, lot of initiatives have been taken place, have been taken up by the government agencies, by the stakeholders, with in concern, taking into accountability, the as a localites, local community, because they are the part of that environment, I mean, where eco-tourist destination sites are located. So a lot of initiatives have been come up, but always there are some negative, there's always a debate, if you want to preserve, then you cannot build hotels or lodges or fooding outlets in that particular area. But at the same time, if you want that the tourism of your country, people should know about the nature, about the inhabitants, about the flora, about the fauna, then similarly you have to ensure that tourists visiting the sites meet the minimum, their minimum needs are being met. That is, you may not stay in a five-star hotel, but yes, there can be guest houses, there can be, small lodges, all those can be located. And also the fooding, when people, another thing is the transport, how would they reach their destination to feel the nature has so much to offer. Okay, so that is what I mean. There is always a debate, because on one side they wanted to preserve the natural habitat, on the other side they had to, if tourists wanted to visit that destinations, then all this fooding and lodging sectors should come up. So to balance is a big question. That is why there is always this type of there are a lot of NGOs, non-government organizations, who are against this. So there is always a debate going on. Now, what are the environmental thresholds? Tourism is a big business. Perhaps you can say the perhaps it's the biggest civilian business. However, it is very much necessary for us to understand, how to handle those, and we shall discuss here three significant components of such thresholds. So, what are the thresholds? Like landslides, then uh, there are natural calamities are also occurring, pollution is increasing, exploitation is going on, exploitation of natural resources. Then you have, it is happening because of increasing population. So this, if not properly and not timely managed well, then it would cause destruction to our nature, or it would cause destruction to our ecosystems. So the following three aspects, these are very three important, aspects that really, you can say, acts as a environmental thresholds, which are very much interrelated also. One is pollution, then there another is population, another one, and the last one is exploitation of natural resources. That is what is very, it should be taken care of, because we are, there's abundant natural resources, but we have to ensure they are not being, they are not exploited. Okay. So some solutions like have, like when you are talking about, when you are talking about this population, pollution, and exploitation of natural resources, the thing is that we have to ensure that they are properly taken care of. So the government has come up with lot of initiatives and all, but yes, some solutions are there, because we know population pollution is, you can say it, vehicles are increasing, so the especially the scale of tourism development in relation to the carrying capacity of the environment, they greatly influences the environmental impact. And many of these types of impacts can result from various types of development. And of course, not everyone is unique to tourism. And if these impacts are not properly being handled or not properly checked, then they are on the thresholds of creating an ecological imbalance. So that is what we are going, our unit is all about, thresholds. So what you say, if the negative impacts or the impacts are on the tourism sector, impacts are on the tourism, natural environment, if these impacts are not properly checked or not being properly evaluated, then they are on the thresholds of creating an ecological imbalance. So, if ecological imbalance takes place, then it would be really very difficult for us to survive. Now, we also do have this population is also, population has a very important role, bearing over an ecosystem, because it depends on the basic survival. Okay. Now, food is very much needed for us, and for shelter, land, and space is required. But the way the population is increasing, the space is becoming difficult. So we are in fact in a very tricky situation, as as our country needs, as the world needs more land, spacious land, that can be for agricultural production, and simultaneously also, you can say, land is also required to produce the house for the common man. So population is one of the important factor, and India has, one of the largest populated country in the world. This is, the activities of the human human is increasing. Obviously, it's it's having a negative impact on the environment. So which, as a result, the tourism is being exploited. So, some solutions like, you can, advantages should be taken when the tourist profile comes in contact with plants and animals, especially in zoos or parks, etc., to explain conservation objectives. So, whenever you enter any national zoo, a national park or zoo, there are do's and don'ts are mentioned about. That is how to they usually explain the conservation objectives, their goals, and their contributions to human survival and well-being. So once people read this, they will come to know, and before entering a zoological place, they are aware of the that they are aware of the what are the tantrums can be, how the tantrums can be avoided. Okay, so very there's always a public concern for a popular public concern, especially for the animals. So they should be used to foster the better understanding of the ecosystem of which animals are a part. So and they should also mention about ecological concepts, and what is conservation all about, what is environmental education. And environmental education should be an important part of the school activities of children. I have also stated earlier that now environmental science, which is a which explains about the environment, about the ecological balance, about our planet, how it is to be conserved. And so all the students of usually medical students or engineering students, when they are doing the course, they are supposed to when they are any in any area, they are supposed to, one paper is there, that is environmental science. Whether you're hotel management or engineering or medical or law or your business management, because it is very necessary. We as human beings, we always have a um, we need to contribute to the environment, and we have a responsibility towards the environment. So unless and until we are educated about the if we are not properly informed or properly aware of the environment and how to preserve or conserve it, then it would be difficult for us to carry on the message. So this is very important, where like study materials should be provided, like audio visual aids, then your tales. All this is very necessary, and it should be included in the curriculum. That is what is very important. Okay, so summary, I would just like to say, like traditionally tourism has been described as the smokeless industry, but it produces its share of environmental imbalance. And we have analyzed the pressures on environment as a product of as a, you can say, it produces its share of environmental imbalance. And we have also analyzed the pressures on environment as a consequence of tourism. And secondly, the points of thresholds, which give a small indication of the shape of how the tourism has to be handled, how the, so the question, as I told you, the three very vital points, that is the population, the pollution, and the exploitation of natural resources. We are intimately interested, but they have to be properly under control. If it is not under control, then it would be a threat, not only tourism but also the social activities as an arena of concern, with an aim to conserve the environment. That is very necessary. So we all should, it's not only as a group but all as an individual, we should learn about our environment, and we should take care of the environment. That is a big, you can say, commitment towards the society. Okay. Now, coming to unit 24, one second. So, Unit 24 is basically about the host or local population, and the objective of this unit is to mainly discuss the following, that what are the opportunities that are available to locals, which form a part of tourism. And second thing is the level of local participation, what is their how they are influenced by all these activities, and how much the localites, whether it's in any job or whether it's in education. So they should need to know, and their participation is very important, because it is always a relationship between the host and the local population. So once you interact with the about the host, the local population when they comes in contact. So about with the tourists and all, they come to know about the different cultures, about the traditions, what are the opportunities available, so that is what is very important. So and the effect of tourism on the local culture and physical landscape, that we'll learn in this unit. So now tourism has become a very somewhat synonymous with taking holidays. Whenever we think of, it is not only about holiday, you have it's basically for, I mean, leisure activities. So lot of recreational activities are there. So it can be described, can like tourism can be described as the phenomenon and taking holidays, restore, I mean, going to different places and all. So once you visit different places, you come to know about the culture, custom. See, you belong to a different country, I belong to India. So I just shared you because since you all are attending the classes, what is so in between the Dashera festival comes. So what is Dashera? You are being given a holiday, but you don't know, what it is or how. So that is the reason I showed you. So there should be a considerable interaction between the tourists as well as the locals, or as tourism anthropology calls, between the host or local and guest population, because they are there is always the host is basically the local community, and the guest. So if the host is not happy with the if the host is not happy with the guest, then, or the, I mean, tourist, then they won't be able to provide the minimum facilities. Because if the tourists are happy, then obviously they'll share their experience with their friends, with the words of mouth. They will share their experience with their friends, peer group, and then again, mm, his friends will come and visit the destination. So what happened? The host community or the host population has should need a proper interaction with the local community. Okay, so that is the what is very essential. The local is basically the host, the local population, and third is the heart communication, which is very important. And we need to know that this visit of tourism not only provides economic opportunities to the locals. Of course, it provides lot of opportunities to the local. They provide employment, they provide job opportunities, that is employment. Then there are revenue is earned for the particular area, and there are a lot of infrastructure development. People want to come to know about their cultures. But yes, as I told you, it is not only providing economic opportunities to the locals, but also leaves a lasting impression on the socio-cultural and physical environment. That is what is. So, in a discussion on the pressures and thresholds of tourism, the local population, that is the host population, acts as a, you can say, they should leave a lasting impression on the social, cultural, and physical environment without disturbing the natural habitat of that particular place. So, the host and local population and the ambience in which it is located assumes great significance. So, now these are the important points which we are going to, there's a lot of solutions has to be developed so that there's always a positive impact on the local community as well as on the environment. Okay. So first thing we are, as like tourism can, and of course tourism does provide diverse opportunities to the host population. So first is your economic opportunity. That is tourism, creates provisions, like there are for certain direct economic benefits, and it provides employment, income, generates income for the local youth. It may also leave, as a result, they can lead to a very improved living standard. So, and it would also contribute to overall regional economic development as well as economic national economic development. And for example, just for instance, a tourist purchases handicrafts in a local shop, and part of the part of the sell proceeds become income to the shop owner, because the tourist purchases handicrafts from a local shop. So part of the proceeds of the sales becomes income for the shop owner. Whereas the when the and what happens, whatever money income that the shop owner earns, and he buys food from another store, so some of which may leak out of the country if imports are involved, but the residue is always the income to the food store owner. So thus, in turn, a respend is practiced and so on. So this operation of economic multiplier contributes to the increase in there's an increase in GDP, that is the gross domestic product of the region, national product of the region, as well as for the country. And furthermore, in the economically depressed areas, the employment and incomes provided by the tourists, especially to the young people, young generation, it may stem the flow of migration. So there are three types of employment opportunity which are created as a result of multiplier effect, and you can say this is a multiplier effect. So there you have, we have, like when we are talking about economic opportunity, there is Hmm. There are three types of employment opportunity which are created as a result of tourism. One is the direct employment we do have, then there is a indirect employment, and there is a induced employment. So, what do you mean by direct employment? Direct employment is basically it results from the expenditure on tourism facility like hotels. Now, this is basically a capital intensive industry, and is mainly you can say outskirts are benefited more from a national auditorium, from a national, or sorry, from a national region, because it creates space for the local youth, local employment, and many locals during the tourist season, they work as tourist guides, and ferry tourists by traditional modes of transports like palanquin. Then you have horse and all, all these are there. I mean, in different areas and all. Like if you go to any hill stations, there are palanquins, then also mules are also. So this local use, especially during the tourist season, they work as tourist guides as well as ferry the tourists. Now, whenever this any type of celebrations or festivals takes place in a difficult, different parts of the country, so much revenue is being generated. You could see, yes, yeah, I mean, the video I showed you, lots and lots of, food stalls where there people visited. So obviously they bought handicrafts, they brought food, they brought, local handicrafts and all. So obviously it generated I'll give you an example. In fact, I wanted to show some pictures, photos, where you'll come to know, in the evening when we were going to see the puja pandals. Now you know what is Durga Puja, you know what is a pandal. Pandal is basically the structure where, Lord Goddess is made to sit. So, in the evening you'll find huge crowd. Then slow, and beside all pandals there are all food outlets, where you'll find all these snacks, then tea, coffee, then you'll find chow mein. These are very common snacks that are being used, all these bread pakoras, fried items. Then you will find chili pakoras and all, then chow mein, and then you'll find lot of juices, soft drinks, then your you'll find all these different types of fried items and all. So they sell like hotcakes, because people are visiting, they are doing pandal hopping, visiting different pandals, and they are going to different stalls and consuming all this food and all. Now, after consuming the food, I'm just telling what happens. People are, after consuming the food, there are trash bins, like dust bins, where you need to throw the plates or wrappers, whatever. But what happened? They are throwing there. So if you visit that pandal at 1 a.m. in the night, in the midnight, you'll be just, surprised the way it looks, because everywhere it is scattered and all. Again, cleaning those places is a difficult task. Now, my question, if the local people or the, tourists or the visitors, if they are little bit sensible, if they are being sensitized, then these type of activities won't take place. It is spoiling the environment. In the, daytime you see, in the evening you see it's fully lighted up, colored up, and you'll feel so, music is going on, the lots of lights are there, lighting and all. That would grab your attention. It's in such a way you feel full of enthusiasm. Then you will consume food, and all, you throw your plates and wrappers here. And when the crowd is, less and all, in the midnight you'll see all wrappers just here and there. It's like garbage. So this is what happens. You need to sensitize. So anyway, what I was telling you, so that is the direct employment. People are buying from this, all those items and all. Now, coming to indirect employment. What is indirect employment? Basically, it arises as a result of the space created by tourism for the development or expansion of other economic sectors such as agriculture, fisheries, certain type of manufacturing, handicrafts, transports, etc. So these are all indirect employment. And then comes the induced employment. What is induced employment? Basically, this induced employment, they result from spending of money by local residents out of their tourism incomes. And tourism can employ a large percentage of women, and in some traditional societies may also, open up some opportunity for the you can for the emancipation of women through training and employment. Now, apparently, then tourism does, it is very much, and it creates employment and income opportunities. But as I told you, a closer look at the existing literature with regards to tourism and employment points out some disturbing facts. What are those disturbing facts? First is, there is a close but no perfect correlation between the income generating effects of tourism and the creation of employment. What does it mean? This means that the high return from the industry do not correspond directly with a proportionate increase in the opportunities for the jobs. And secondly, the employment created as a result of tourism, the employment created as a result of tourism is generally labor intensive. As I told you, tourism is a labor intensive industry. So the employment created as a result of tourism is generally intensive and is lowly paid. So much of the tourism employment, as earlier pointed out, is seasonal. Now, yesterday, there are lakhs of business yesterday. Lakhs went to crores in some places because it's seasonal. This festival takes place in the month of October. So, this is seasonal. So, during this, these are the peak seasons. But if you see, like, in the month of May, June, July, July is basically rainy season. We don't have much. We do have festivals, but not this, revenue generating uh, ceremonies or festivals. But October has a lot of festivals, October and November. So these are very seasonal, and the income that is being generated, it goes up to crores of rupees. Not only those who are selling foods, but those who are making the pandals, because after that they have to dismantle because they are made up of bricks or other cardboards, and also they have to dismantle. So during that period, particular period, there's, I mean, there are a lot of levels of people, so everyone is, benefited, but that is also seasonal. So that is one point to be noted. After this, this is a cross cultural exchange, which is very important. Now, what do you mean by cross cultural exchange? So, tourism creates opportunities for the residents as well as the visitors. What they learn more about each other's culture, about their, like as I told you, India is one country with lot of cultures and so on. So they learn lot about each other's cultures, which would result in greater mutual understanding, and or at least different value systems. They come to know about different value systems, about different traditions. And especially in a country like India, which is multi-ethnic, a country like India which is considered to be multi-ethnic, domestic tourism usually provide an ample of opportunity to the people to achieve cross-cultural understanding, and obviously thereby building a sense of national unity among diverse groups of the population. For instance, I belong to the state West Bengal, okay, and it is Durga Puja is celebrated in a great pomp and show. But I reside in a different state. There is also Durga Puja celebrated, But I come from that state to this state, and when I'm in that state, I just, there's a cross-cultural exchange. The way we celebrate this festival, the way we celebrate, like Dashera also. If you see that video, you'll see this is celebrated in a state in Karnataka, in a place called Mysore. The god they worship, the way it is being celebrated, it differs. I mean, little bit, there's a vary. So people come to know, cross-cultural exchange is there. And especially since India is a multi-ethnic country, so domestic tourism provides an ample opportunity to the people to achieve cross-cultural understanding. And in the process, it builds a sense of national unity among diverse groups of the population. But this intermingling of different cultures may also lead to some problems in the society. And one of the major is that the increasing presence of international tourists is accepted as an important element in the process of you can see in the people, where many people they try to borrow from each other's cultural heritage, so in this case, the presence of stronger western ideas and practices introduced through tourism, it may lead to a process which is largely one of the assimilation of the weaker host culture. So thus we find, people imitating Western lifestyles as well as they are imitating habits, and in the process they distort their own traditional norms and customs. For example, an Indian going abroad learning, suppose they are going to any developed country. So their lifestyle changes, their eating habits changes, there are different customs and traditionals they follow. So in that case, they think, no, we are a developing country, but we have moved to a developed country, so we should follow their lifestyle. So in, they, Indian culture, Indian people, they try to imitate the Western lifestyles. They try to imitate the Western habits, and what happens in the process? They forget their own traditional norms and customs, which is a very negative impact on our culture, on our tourism. Okay, so you should keep yourself away from all this. Then comes renewal of cultural pride. So tourism, creates an opportunity for the hosts as well as locals to develop a sense of pride in their own culture, especially when they find tourists appreciating it. And tourism may thus become, it would also enable minority cultural communities to maintain their distinct identity. Okay, and this especially this renewal of cultural pride may make the community, conscious of the distinct culture used by a group of people of any aspect of their culture in order to differentiate themselves from other groups, may feel centrifugal tendencies, why they are following our cultures, they are trying to imitate us. So such possibility is even more forthcoming given the nature of tourist development, where the local communities, they have a very important role in decision making, and there's always a development gap between the town and the countryside, which continues to increase. There's a rural, in a rural area it is being celebrated in one way, in the urban area it is being celebrated at a higher scale. So there is always a gap, and sometimes, this gap also results in, people tend to, sometimes what happens, they always imitate, they think, they are trying to imitate our culture. So it would that is the reason why you need to sometimes renew our cultural pride. That is very important, because this gap exists, and especially between the rural community and the urban community, and slowly it is increasing. And so there is always the decision making process should be properly handled with. Then yes, coming to about involvement of locals. mm, this section is basically will concentrate on the level of participation of the local population as a result of tourist activity in the region. So extent of participation, tourism basically involves the host population in diverse ways. So there's the first category includes people who are in continuous and direct contact with the tourist, and this person are basically in the, like, fooding business. They are in catering trade, or they may be in transport, they may be in shops, or they're in the travel agencies, and they support tourism because they fully depend on it, and perhaps they would be unemployed without it. So they always welcome visitors, because they know if visitors come, if tourists visit their destination, then that would generate revenue for them. Second is the second category of people. The second category consists of those population or groups who are in direct and frequent contact with the tourists, but who derive only a part of their income from tourism, not partially. So that is what happens in the tourism season only. Okay, so they live in or near tourist centers and engage in various activities such as farming, selling of handicrafts, and participating in performing arts. The third category is basically, comprises of well-to-do elites who derive maximum benefit from the tourism promotion, because they are financially sound and they are able to invest money in tourist activities. You will find, some hotels in a destination, but you'll come to know who has invested in that hotel, who is the owner of the hotel. The owner of the hotel is an NRI, non-resident India, because he's affluent, financially strong. So what he does, he, whether it's black money or he just, what happened, he invests in that village area, I mean urban area, what, in building a hotel. So whatever, and he has, there's a mediator always, there's a negotiation between the mediator and the investor. The investor say, every month you should, I should get so much, because he's an NRI, he stays abroad. At the end of the month, he needs that this much of revenue should come to him. After that, it is the mediator who sells it. The way he does, that depends on his tactics. Okay, so that is the third category. And the fourth category is the large group of locals who have no contact with the tourist or see them only passing. So here a variety of attitudes are possible: approval, their rejection, interest, or indifference, the last being the most common. And another group comprises of citizens. As I told you, there are always people who oppose to it. There is always a debate. Some will be in favor of it and some will be against it. There are always, whether it is beneficial to the society or if not, but there are always two groups of people. So another group of people, another group category of people, what they always oppose tourism in a very organized manner. This group always tries to point out the ill effects of tourism and through pamphlets, through petitions to the authorities concerned, and also through protest demonstrations. So this keeps on going. So there, what happens? They put a pressure on the host or the local communities. Okay? So the host population is basically the, if anything happens, the host population is partly to blame. The prime targets of tourism are the places where human as well as material resources both become available, but very cheap, in a very cheaply available. So the lure of heavy infrastructure investment in such places make the locals believe the promise of the tourist trade promoters. The revenue earned from tourism will give a giant push to the development and modernization of the region in particular, and the entire country in general. So that is what happens. Okay. So I'll just I'll just show you that video which we were showing. I was showing that I had shown you halfway. You can see the second up. In the meantime, just give me 5 minutes break, right? One sec. Kabiru, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm there.
Okay.
You can
So
hear
what
you.
I do? Oh, okay. Today, I have some other issues, so I'll just try to wind up the class a little bit early. I'll show you that video which I was showing. Yeah, huh? Just a minute. So you can, in the meantime, I'll just show you that video. One sec. Hamza, how are you? Hmm. Okay. I'm just starting. This is the traditional Dashera. You see, from this video, you'll come to know these are all seasonal. So what I told you, there are, categories of people, first category, second category, then comes the third category who invest. There are a lot of, some gold ornaments the Lord is wearing. So who invest in all those? All those third category of people who are the elites, they invest in this type of so that they are staying abroad, but they invest in also. These are the third category of people. They also derive maximum benefit from tourism promotion, because this is a mode of tourism promotion. They are financially sound and they are able to invest money in tourism activities. Okay, so involvement of everyone is there. One sec, 1 minute, huh? You are able to see the video, na?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Another way in which a new
You are able to see the video? Okay, okay, okay. Just watch the video. I'm coming within another 5 10 minutes.
sort of, political power communities being put together. These people go back home with tales of Mysore, etc. And another thing that gets added to this activity era, where the government also tries to showcase its interest in science and becoming modern, and tries to tell its people that we need to have, embrace new scientific knowledge in veterinary science and agricultural science and industrial production, etc., etc. Which still continues. The Dasra exhibition is a part of the stuff even now. And of course, the British also are there on the last day, which is Ashmi Day, as part of the court sort of gathering. There are these changes, but yeah, this is. But I think a crucial thing that I forgot to mention, Veera, animal slaughter sacrifice is a very big part of the Dasara celebrations in Vijayanagar. You don't see that as much in Mysore, and we still don't know why that is the case. And another thing to note, Tipu Sultan and Hyderabad ruled Mysore for 40 years, but the Dasara continued the entire time to happen. And the Wadayars who had been displaced from power were still part of the Dasara processions. And then after independence, of course, something else happens. Fascinating. The government becomes involved. Fascinating bits of history there, Chandan. As always, trust you to bring those bits of history, like most of you old Mysoreans who are steeped in tradition as far as
the Mysore Dashera is concerned, it's interesting that you pointed out about the subtle differences between Dashera celebrations even in one state. But as we focus on South India, the idea is here to also look at it from a pan-India point of view. I want to go across to Amarnath as far as the Chennai Konu is concerned, because between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu itself, there are differences in the way the tradition is celebrated. But before that, just want to bring in a bit of a North India perspective as well. As I mentioned just now, the setting ablaze of Ravan has concluded in the Ram Leela celebrations of the national capital, with the Prime Minister as well as Sonia Gandhi as well as Arvind Kejriwal and the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi in attendance at different Ram Leela celebrations in the national capital. The Prime Minister was at Dwarka, in the national capital. There you have it on your screens. Let's just play very quickly a soundbite from the Prime Minister's speech there before we come and juxtapose the narrative that's there in the north of India to the one in the south of India, and of course the different narratives even within states.
आज हमें सौभाग्य मिला है कि हम भगवान राम
This is a
मंदिर बनता देख पा रहे हैं
this is a prime minister of a country,
और
right?
अयोध्या की अगली रामनवमी पर रामलला के मंदिर में गुंजा हर स्वर पूरे विश्व को हर्षित करने वाला है। आज रावण का
Vanakkam Rag.
7 habits of highly effective people. Think and grow rich. Ikigai. Rich dad and poor dad. Power of habits. Compound effect.
Raghav from Tamil Nadu. So I started Vanakkam. And as you said, it's one festival, many stories. I think only next to Diwali, Dashera is celebrated as a national festival all over India in different names. And in Tamil Nadu, it's called Bomma Golu. Golu means display of dolls. Bomma was display of dolls. I think we should have started the Nayaka, the later period during the Saraboji's second period. Because Saraboji II was a patron of all art forms of South India. And these Tanjavur Bommais are very famous, based on center of gravity, Talayati Bommai. And during his period, we had the Raja Rani Bommais of Poikal Kudai, dummy horse dolls. I think this practice of display of dolls should have started few hundred years back. In Tamil Nadu, unlike Karnataka, it's more of people-to-people contact here. Interpersonal relationship is developed, socializing among people. And what we do is, in every house, see, as you said, it's not a Brahminical culture at all. Today, every house, almost every house, has a golu, irrespective of caste and creed. It's become the order of the day. You may even call it as fashion of the day. A must in a golu, a Ganesh, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Dasavataram, Chetiyar and Chetichi.
Had the good fortune to see my late father, Sri Srikandat Narasimha Rodear, perform. And
Difference between the Ram versus Ravan narrative and
See,
the woman power narrative in south and east of India. Any thoughts on that? I mean, how does
see,
it
there are
evolve in
different regions.
parts
We
of
are
the
trying to
country?
south,
I mean,
north,
I
east,
suspect
west.
there could be a lot of
Okay,
details
noted.
in this aspect of it. May not be concrete historical proof, but what's really the heard amongst your own people who study history closely?
Vaishnavism is known in Karnataka, but the Shaiva presence has been a stronger presence historically. But the Shakta cult, which is sometimes which is more friendly towards the Shaiva cult, has also been here. After Assam, Bengal, Karnataka is the only other region in the country where the Shakta cult, where women power is worshipped, is seen. So you may find, so in the case of the Wadeyars, Veera, if you don't notice the names, Krishna Raja, Wadeyar, Jaicham, they've all become Vaishnavites later on in the 19th century onwards. But the Shakta cult has persisted in the form of worship of Chamundi. So there's no pure fidelity to one tradition or another. The mixture is what you notice here. But you
See, this he said there's a mixture of traditions. Okay, so this is you listen to him. He said like it's a mixture of tradition, north, south, east, west. Okay, so sometimes the conflict arises because of that also. Like why this northern people will say they are imitating me, or eastern people will say they are imitating me. So this is what happens.
you're right. The kind of the celebrations or the killing of Ravana is not at all a very big thing here. And same in Tamil Nadu, as you know, Kamban Ramayana, he found it very difficult to make uh, Ravana the villain because he was a devout Shaivite. So there are these local traditions that will, manage, what sorts of or influence, what kind of festivals we come to embrace, etc. So Rama is not unknown. In fact, you will have many places which will associate themselves with Ramayana. But at the same time, the kind of festivity that you see in North India, where the effigy of Ravana is burnt at the end of the ninth day, that is something that you don't find here. Uh,
So Hamza, Kabiru, Muhammad, were you able to understand this? See, we are talking about tourism and how it has an impact, on the environment. The Dashera was celebrated just for one day. Lot of people got, there are, this is basically a seasonal. So how it affects, on the revenue part as well as on the environment part. Because after that, you'll see lot of, trashes here and there. But it's been celebrated in a grand way. But there are a lot of trashes here and there the very next day, that is the today, and there are a lot of people will be cleaning that area. Who will be involved? The local community. So that is how they always have a very negative impact. The day we celebrate in a very in a broader way, with lot of pomp and show, but after some time you will find people are busy cleaning those areas and all. Kabir, are you able
Yes,
to
ma'am.
hear?
It's really understandable.
Okay, did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand? Were you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What I 1 minute, huh? 1 sec. Any queries you have? Any questions you have?
Okay, I don't know if I can ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you please explain the social and economic implications, of exceeding cultural thresholds in a heritage or historical site? So, the explanation of the social and
Okay, just
economical
a minute.
implications.
Okay, 1 minute, huh? Just a second.
No problem.
Yes. Can you hear me? I think Kabiri, you had a question, right?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Uh-huh. Yes. What happens? You have a positive impact as well as a negative impact. Okay. See, in one way, you are it's generating revenue for the local community, but on the other side, they are hampering the environment also. I just have shown you a pic. I have shown you the video because if you listen to that video properly, then you'll come to know how it will have a negative impact on the society. Because lot of rush, people are celebrating, but on the other side, they it has a negative impact. As I told you yesterday, it was celebrated in a very large way. But if you visit that place today, you will find people only cleaning the area. Okay, so what happens? People, I told you, I gave you an example. They'll eat here and there. They'll throw they won't throw their dustbins or I mean trash in the proper trash bin. So what happens? They are providing a very negative impact on the society. So of course, people are I mean they should be educated. Unless and until they are educated, it will hamper the society. So you have very socio-economic, like it is generating revenue, but you have to ensure that it does not have a negative impact on the environment. Whenever there is any celebration and all, people celebrate with a great pomp and show, but on the other side they should also take care of the environment, which is not is there, and that should be that will be properly possible only with the help of the awareness. Like if people are sensitized, then they would be able to know. So that proper sensitization education is very important for our culture. Okay, India is one country, but there are a lot of cultures are there. Celebrations are going on, and the business is generating. People are aware. I told it's not only Indians, but also foreigners are coming and participating. But what's happening? It's at the end of the day, what you earn, you tend to lose that, because cleaning that area, I mean cleaning that, yesterday there were lakhs of people who there's a ground, where this program was taken place. And now if you see in the news, if you see the videos YouTube, you'll find they're busy. I mean, they won't show that, but you will find after a few days that people spent, the government spent lot of money in putting it back to shape. So that is what's happening. These impacts are always there. There are positive as well as negative impacts, but we should ensure that it is being balanced. That is what happens. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
And
for the explanation.
uh,
And I have
can I?
one
So
more.
anything else, y'all? Because today I'll just wind up. Uh, Kabiru, tell me.
Yes,
If you, yes.
yes,
Tell me.
yeah. Uh,
Kabiru, yes. Uh, Kabiru, I cannot hear you.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Now I can hear you. Tell me. Uh,
Okay. My question goes like,
uh,
as you mentioned earlier,
tell me. Uh, Sorry. Tell me. Kabiru left. I think he had a question. Hamza,
Yes, ma'am.
did you see the video? Do you have any questions as such?
Yes, ma'am. I've seen the video, but I have no question. There is no question from my side.
Okay, okay. So, but you understood now what is like this celebrations we had. Our topic is on environment, and why I showed you this video, because lot of revenue was earned, and of course the day it was celebrated, then all these shops and all, it all took place on a in a ground, you can say an open ground, and there were a lot of stalls and all. Now yesterday it was the celebration took place, and this preparation was going on for the last maybe a month before, all preparations. But today everything has been dismantled. So when this dismantle takes place, you can understand the situation. The it is lot of trash here and there, so it is a negative impact on the environment, and we are all talking about environment only. So this has to be taken care of. That is what is very important. Got the point? Hmm. So anything you want to pass it? You have anything? Kabiru has come online, huh? There are always
Okay, ma'am.
Bhasir,
Ma'am,
I'm
no,
all
you
okay.
can hear me.
hmm.
I'm okay, mom.
Okay. Kabiru, you can hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. I'm having a network problem now.
Hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Hmm. Oh, network problem is always there, no? Yes, yes. Tell me, I can hear you. Hmm.
Okay. As we mentioned earlier, after after the place is
Hmm.
dismantled,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. After dismantle, yes. That area has become so trashy and all, and you'll see the trees will be cut and all places, and it will take another 5 days to clean up that area, and all the trash is here, and not people do not put. If people had put it in proper places, like in some countries, some places, they are very organized. This organized, you can see from the people, the crowd, you could understand. That is the reason I showed you. It is a live video. It took place yesterday only. So see the crowd and all, now if you come to that place, the whole scenario you'll find different. In the process, people has earned a lot of revenue. There are first category of people, there are second category of people, there are third category of people. Everybody is benefiting from some way or the other from through the tourism industry. Some are directly, some are indirectly, some are people, they are staying abroad and investing in all these activities and all. But yes, environment is very important, because we human, it is all very much depends on us. We have to ensure that it is been properly taken care of, because we have to, it should be a sustainable tourism. Okay, that is what is, in this G20 uh, G20 meeting we had in New Delhi in the month of September on tourism. There was a lot of discussion. Tomorrow I'll tell you about this. I'll show you a small video also referring to that. Like, tourism was one important aspect where discussions were made on, especially about green tourism, about sustainable tourism, and about digitalization tourism. So, something tomorrow I'll little bit, Kabiru, you also come a bit prepared, because you know about something about technology, how technology can be helpful in the tourism industry. And these three topics, what I told, the discussion which took place in G20 in the month of September 2023, which took place in a country capital city of India, that is Delhi, and where their main when while talking in respect of tourism industry, these three avenues, that is, the tourism should be green tourism, it should be sustainable tourism, and it should be digitalization tourism. That what was discussed. Understood? No, green. But did you ever see, when I was showing you the video, did you find that green tourism was visible? It was not at all. Okay, we are trying, we are on the way. So this is how environment, um, this is what this is what environment, we need to preserve our environment and all. That is very important. Okay, what do you say, Pasir, Kabiru? Understand mine? So
Okay.
our country is giving
Hello.
much effort, much pressure on these all, sustainable tourism.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Huh? Kabiru, tomorrow na we'll discuss on that. that unit 25. Okay, and you come a little bit prepared on how technology can be utilized, even in respect to environmental, protection of the environment, safeguarding the
Hamza.
environment, what digitalization has role to play. Got it?
Yes, ma'am. Noted.
So, today I am winding up the class a little bit early. Uh, okay, and that's if you have any queries as such, you can tell me. Any queries?
I don't know,
Ma'am, when
please.
are we going to have the PPT?
Yes, I'll send you. Let me finish my classes. I'll send you the PPT. Okay, don't worry for that. I'll send it to the regional center. They'll send it to you. Otherwise, if you need any other assistance, I'm there. So, okay. Uh, Today I okay. I am moving to my hometown today. I'm at my hometown. I'm moving to my city today. So see you tomorrow. Tomorrow from 3 to 5, I'll be there. Right? Okay. All the best to all of you. Good day, huh?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hamza,
Yes.
da Allah, yawa, da Allah Hamza group din nan da Allah da yake na rasa waya ta kwanaki kuma na yi losing din contact. Ya za a yi adin din number ta saboda na